Welcome back. Today I'd like to share with you a story of a person who found the joy of nirvana. On a crisp morning in a serene valley, surrounded by snow-capped mountains, Lila awoke. The first rays of sunlight filtered through the tall pines and bathed the landscape in a warm golden hue. Birds chirped from the treetops, and the faint sound of a stream trickled nearby. But what struck her the most was the profound silence in her mind. There were no worries, no lingering thoughts about the future or the past. It was as if time itself had slowed down to a perfect standstill. Lila had arrived at nirvana. Her journey had not been swift nor easy. For years she had struggled with the weight of desire and attachment. The world had pulled at her, asking for more success, more wealth, more love. She had believed that these were the keys to happiness. Yet despite all her accomplishments and the love she had experienced, something always felt incomplete. It was like she was chasing something that could never be grasped, like a shadow that evaded her no matter how fast she ran. Lila had spent years studying under wise teachers, meditating for hours, and seeking deeper truths about the nature of existence. Through this discipline, she had slowly peeled away the layers of her ego, revealing the true essence of her being. It was a gradual process, but eventually, the illusion of separation, of being an individual apart from the world, had faded. It was as if the world and she were one, breathing together in perfect harmony. Now, here in this peaceful valley, Lila was no longer the person she had once been. She no longer had the need to strive for anything, to push for something more. Nirvana had come to her, not through force, but through surrender. In that surrender, she had discovered a joy far greater than anything she had ever imagined. The happiness she felt now was not a fleeting emotion, but a state of being. It wasn't the excitement that comes with acquiring a new possession, nor the temporary pleasure derived from success or praise. It was a quiet, boundless joy that radiated from within, a deep contentment that needed no external validation. It was the joy of simply being, of existing in perfect union with the world. She stood up and walked toward the stream, the soft grass cool beneath her bare feet. As she knelt down to touch the water, a smile spread across her face. The water flowed gently, as if it too was in a state of perfect harmony. There was no rush, no struggle in the current. It flowed effortlessly, content in its own movement, just as Lila now felt within herself. She watched a leaf drift down from a nearby tree and float on the surface of the stream. There was no urgency in the leaf's descent, no concern for where it would land. It simply fell, carried by the breeze, and was carried onward by the water. This, Lila realized, was the essence of nirvana. It was not a destination or an achievement, but a way of being. It was letting go, surrendering to the flow of life, and trusting that everything was unfolding perfectly as it was meant to. As she sat by the stream, her heart full of peace, a deep sense of gratitude washed over her. Gratitude not for any particular thing, but for the experience of life itself, its beauty, its fleeting moments, and its impermanence. In this moment she understood that all her years of searching had been about returning to this very simplicity. Nirvana was not a place she could visit or a goal to achieve. It was the realization that everything was already perfect as it was. Lila closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Feeling the cool, crisp air fill her lungs, she felt no need for anything. She was not seeking happiness, for she realized it was already here. She was not seeking love, for she had become love itself. She was not searching for meaning, for she knew that meaning was found in the acceptance of the present moment, in the surrender to life as it unfolded. As the days passed, Lila's happiness deepened. There were no more highs or lows, no more peaks of joy followed by valleys of despair. Instead, there was a steady state of contentment that never wavered. The fleeting pleasures of the past, material success, approval from others, or even fleeting moments of love no longer held any power over her. She had experienced them all, but they had no longer defined her. They were just passing clouds in the vast sky of her being. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Lila sat on a rock and gazed at the sky. The colors of the sunset were indescribable, a perfect blend of pinks, purples, and oranges. She felt as though she were one with the sky, the earth, and the stars. There was no separation between herself and the universe. Everything was an expression of the same energy, the same divine presence. Her heart overflowed with love, not for any particular thing, but for the entire universe. She understood now that love was not something to be sought after, but something to be experienced as the very fabric of existence. In every breath, every heartbeat, she was connected to everything. There was no need to chase happiness because happiness was who she was. A gentle breeze caressed her face, and for a moment Lila could almost hear the world whispering to her. It was not a voice, not words, but a profound understanding. You are everything, and everything is you, the world seemed to say. In this moment, Lila understood that nirvana was not an end, but a beginning. It was the beginning of seeing life as it truly was, without distortion, without desire, and without attachment. It was the beginning of realizing the infinite beauty of existence and the deep peace that arose from simply being. She closed her eyes, and the laughter of a child echoed in her heart. It was the laughter of someone who had found the truth and was no longer burdened by the weight of the world. It was the laughter of someone who had discovered that life, in its purest form, was a perfect joy. And so Lila remained in that state of bliss, not as someone striving to attain nirvana, but as someone who had realized she was always one with it. She was no longer seeking, for she had found. In the peaceful valley, by the gentle stream, under the vast, endless sky, Lila was home. She was free, and for the first time in her life, she was truly, deeply, and endlessly happy.